Hello everybody, this is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo. Lately I've been noticing some unusual yet intriguing pieces of jewelry. They're basically made out of bandanas, charms, and big hole beads. So today I thought I would try to make a necklace out of a bandana. So that zebra print piece of fabric is pretty cool, and I have these black wood big hole beads, and I figured they'd be perfect. And I think I'm going to use probably some 20 gauge silver tone copper wire. And I was just sticking around looking for big hole beads, and I've got these Hishu beads that might work. I don't know if I'll use them or not, but I have them there in case I decide to. Add a little color to it. And then I have these wooden flat beads. They're made out of coconut shells. I could just use the wire to wire some charms with them probably. Now, to stay with the animal print theme, I remember these earrings that I got a long time ago. I did not make them. I think a necklace and these earrings were like $1 at some store, and I bought them thinking I might use them in a piece of jewelry someday, and I think that'll be perfect. And then I've got all these big jump rings. I'm going to need those. And now I need to pick out a focal, and I have several options here. I'm not really for sure which one I want to use. Oh, I also want to use these silver tone big hole beads. But look at all these options I have for a focal. It's going to be hard to decide. So I set all those focals aside, and we're going to mess with these little earrings. I want to take them off of the ear wires. So now I'm closing them back, and they're not really fitting. Whoever made these, they really didn't close the jump rings like they should have. And so I'm carefully trying to shimmy them so they're together. And they worked out okay. Let me finish this other one. Jump ring is really being stubborn. Sorry I'm out of frame, but I messed with it long enough. I got it to where it needs to be. And then the funny thing is, after I did all this, well, you'll see in a little bit, I really didn't need to. So now to turn these coconut discs into some charms. I've got me some 20 gauge wire. I'm just going to thread it up through the hole of these beads. And because I need quite a big circle in the bail of these charms, I need more than I normally would use, more wire than I would normally use. And I'm just measuring them equally there. And I'm going to twist them until I get one wire instead of the two wires. Now, I want to make sure that these are the same length. So I'm going to go ahead and measure the second one. Make sure one is not longer than the other. Just measuring them up next to each other. All right, so I have the wire that I drew up the back there, and I don't have to do this part. It's kind of loosey-goosey there. I want the bead to be tight, so I just kind of made a little bend. Plus the fact it kind of makes it a little bit more interesting on the back. All right, so my round nose pliers, I'm going to use the very bottom, the biggest part of the pliers to wrap my loop. Now I'm just wrapping the excess wire around, making sure to tuck the ends in because we don't want it to scratch our necks or maybe scratch a shirt or something we may be wearing. It could even poke a hole in it. So you want to make sure those ends are tucked in really, really well. And once you think you have them tucked in, just kind of feel around. And if you feel something poking out, tuck it more. If you don't feel anything poking you, you did a great job. All right, so I have all my beads and my charms, and I may or may not use all of these, but I have them gathered up. And now to assemble everything. So I need to pick out the focal. This one's nice. I actually really, really like it, and I'm kind of tending toward this one. And then we have this little replica of a coin, but I don't know. I think it seems too small to me. I want the focal to be bigger. So then I have this little cage thing. That looks pretty good too. I don't know. That may be a contender. We'll put those contenders up here. And then there's this one. The only thing is it's in Spanish and I don't know what it says. And it's so little I can't really see it anyway. So I don't know. Maybe not this time. And then we have a tree of life. No. Let's see. We have this one. Now, I really like this one, but it has 2 holes in it, which means I have to put a little dangle, and I don't want to have a dangle off of a dangle. So that's a no. Now, this would be kind of cool, but I don't know. I don't want that feel. Now, this is pretty cool too. I think if I would have used those colorful Hishu beads, that probably would have been a good contender, but I don't know. So this is what I'm going with. And like I said, I'm not for sure I'm going to use all of these beads, but I've got them laid out. And I have my bandana. I am going to cut it. I've actually already cut it. I just put it from point to point, so it's a triangle, and then I cut the middle. And I'm only going to use part of one of these. So I'm laying this out flat, and I'm going to cut about 2.5, 3 inches, just one strip. And that's what I'm going to use to put all these beads and charms on. So to be honest with you, I'm actually making this up as I go. So hopefully this is going to work out. But the first thing I'm going to do is find the middle, and then I'm going to tie a knot slightly to one side of the middle. So after I've done that, I'm just going to tie the knot tight, and then I am going to feed the focal on like so. Now I have a very large jump ring that I put the charm on. So once I get that on, I'm going to tie another knot on the other side here, and that way all these charms and beads are going to stay in place. They're not going to be sliding all over up and down the bandana. So we're at a point here where we actually could be done. That looks good just like that, and then you could just tie it on at the back. But of course I'm not going to be done. I want to add more beads and charms. So before I add anything to it though, I want to twist it. And I want this to be kind of a boho look, and if it frays a little bit, that's fine. In fact, I may try to do one of these where I actually want a lot of fraying, but this one is, if it frays, it frays. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I've got it twisted, and now I'm going to feed these big holed black wooden beads on. Right, so I have that bead on, and I'm going to go ahead and tie another knot to keep that bead in place. And I'm going to work on one side and get it all completely done before I work on the other side. Probably if I do this again, I will work on both sides at the same time, but since I'm kind of making this up as I go, I'll probably come across some bobbles, like actually right now. I did not slide that knot down far enough, so I kind of had to undo it and adjust it a little bit. All right, what's next? Well, I have it laid out where this silver bead would be next, but I don't think I'm going to use the silver bead right there. I think I'm going to put a charm on, and it'll be the little leopard charm, and we'll just feed that down and tie another knot. Now, as I'm putting all these beads and charms and tying knots and stuff, I am realizing that I will probably be running out of bandana, and so I'm not going to put as many charms and beads on there because I want the bandana to actually be able to go all the way around my neck. All right, what next? Well, I think I want to use those coconut charms, so maybe that's what we'll put on next. So we'll just slip that on through there and tie another knot. By the way, those leopard earrings, I actually wound up taking the original jump rings out and adding larger jump rings so it could fit on the bandana. And then I added larger jump rings on these too. Gives them more of a dangle. All right, there we go. We got them on. You know what? I'm not really sure I like that, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this silver bead on there and tie another knot and see what happens. I'm not for sure I like those two charms so close together. All right, now for the other side. All right, I've got it all done, and I did not use these. They were just too close. I didn't like the two charms right close to each other like that. And you know what? It really didn't need to have all those charms. I liked the way it turned out. And you know what? We could be done just like this. I could tie it around my neck, but you know what? I think I want to actually add a clasp and have it be adjustable. So I took some jump rings. I've got a big one that I threaded on to the bandana and then just added 2 more jump rings to it for one side. And then the other side, I got a big jump ring. I'm going to feed that onto the bandana and just tie a knot. And I want to make sure that the knots are even. And when we get this knot tied, we're basically done. One thing about these bandana necklaces when you're making them, you need to make sure before you tighten your knots, they are exactly where you want them. If you tighten them, then they're going to be really hard to get out. So kind of tie them loosely and then make sure they're where you want them before you actually tighten them. There we go. We've got it all done. And one thing to note too, now I made this to be about 17 inches, but because it was cut, I think that's called cut on the bias, it does have a little bit of stretch to it. And over time, it's probably going to lengthen just a little bit. So keep that in mind. They're actually really comfortable. Now, I would not be wearing this shirt with this necklace. And you know what? I actually have a shirt that it would really go good with. Maybe I should do a what am I going to wear today with this necklace pretty soon. Stay tuned for that. Let me know what you think of these bandana necklaces. And thanks for joining me. Y'all have a great day. This is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo signing out for now. Bye-bye.